October 19, 1987. In a single trading day, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 22.6%. In today's terms, that would be roughly equivalent to the index losing more than 8,000 points before lunch. By the time the closing bell rang, approximately $500 billion in market value had vanished from the US stock market alone. And the question that immediately follows, the one that almost everyone asks, but almost nobody gets a clear answer to, is this. Where did it transfer to someone else's bank account? Did some shadowy group of traders get fantastically rich while everyone else lost everything? Did the government absorb it somehow? Did it just vanish? This is one of the most genuinely misunderstood concepts in all of finance. Most people have a vague mental model that money moving out of the stock market has to move somewhere. The way money moves out of your wallet and into a store's register when you buy something. But the stock market doesn't work that way, and understanding exactly why is going to fundamentally change how you think about every market crash you've ever seen reported on the news. Meet our two observers for today. The first is Henrik. Henrik watched the news during the COVID crash of March 2020, with a specific question stuck in his mind. The headlines kept saying things like, $5 trillion wiped out from global markets in a single week. Henrik pictured that $1 trillion moving somewhere, into hedge funds, into the accounts of short sellers, into some entity that was profiting enormously. He assumed market crashes were essentially wealth transfers, that for every loser, there was an equal and opposite winner pocketing the difference. The second observer is Amara. Amara had studied exactly how market value is calculated, and she understood something that completely changes the picture. She knew that a stock market crash isn't primarily a transfer of wealth from one group of people to another. It's something stranger, and in some ways, more important to understand. A recalculation of what already existing wealth is actually worth. These are very different mental models, and only one of them is consistent with how markets actually function. Before we go further, the standard disclaimer. Nothing in this video is financial advice. Everything we're covering is purely educational, designed to clarify one of the most persistently misunderstood concepts in market mechanics. With that said, let's trace exactly where the money goes. To understand where money goes when the market falls, we first need to understand what market value actually represents. Because this is where Henrik's mental model breaks down. When financial media reports that a company is worth $1 trillion, what they're describing is market capitalization. Here's the critical detail. That $1 trillion figure is not money sitting in a vault somewhere. The current share price multiplied by the total number of shares outstanding. It is not cash that exists anywhere in physical or even purely digital form, waiting to be claimed. It is a calculated estimate, the price of the most recent trade, multiplied by every share that exists, including shares that nobody is currently trying to buy or sell. Imagine a simple company called Brightline Corp. Brightline has exactly 1 million shares outstanding. The very last trade between a buyer and seller happened at exactly $100 per share. Multiply those together, and financial websites report that Brightline is worth $100 million. Now imagine that tomorrow, after some negative news, the very next trade happens at $80 per share. One single trade between one buyer and one seller. Brightline's market capitalization is now recalculated. 1,000 shares times $80 equals $80,000. $20,000 in market value just disappeared. But notice what actually happened in the real world. One transaction occurred involving 10 shares, where one seller accepted $80 instead of $100 for each share. The other 990 shares, owned by people who didn't sell anything today, didn't lose any actual cash. Their holdings are simply now being valued at a lower price, based on that one new data point. This is the single most important concept in this entire video. Market capitalization is not money. It is a price estimate. When the market loses trillions of dollars, the overwhelming majority of that figure represents the revaluation of shares that were never actually sold that day. Now let's trace the actual cash flows, because understanding this requires separating market capitalization from realized transactions. Scenario 1. You hold your shares through the crash. You lose nothing in cash terms. If you own shares and don't sell them during a crash, you haven't lost any actual money. Your account statement shows a lower current valuation, but that's an estimate of what your shares are worth if you sold them right now, not a cash. If the price later recovers, your paper loss disappears entirely, having never been realized. This is why the distinction between paper loss and realized loss is one of the most financially important concepts an investor can internalize. Henrik, watching headlines about trillions wiped out, is mostly watching the unrealized paper value of shares belonging to people who never. Scenario 2. Someone actually sells during the crash. Here's where real money changes hands. If you panic and sell your shares, at the bottom of a crash, you do experience a realized loss. But, and this is the part that breaks Henrik's mental model completely, someone else, on the other side of that exact trade, just bought your shares. The cash didn't disappear, it simply moved from the buyer's account into the seller's account, while the shares moved in the opposite direction. The seller now owns cash instead of shares. The buyer now owns shares instead of cash. No money vanished from the financial system. For every seller in a market crash, there is a buyer. The transaction cannot happen any other way. When you sell 100 shares at a depressed price because you're panicking, somebody else, a value investor, an institutional fund, another retail investor who sees opportunity, the buyer believes the shares are undervalued. The seller believes they're too risky to keep. The market simply matches those two opinions. Prices move because opinions change, not because money suddenly appears or disappears. The market is fundamentally a giant price discovery mechanism, constantly updating prices as millions of buyers and sellers express. Those prices become reference points for every share still being held, even though most of those shares never changed hands. So when headlines announce that trillions of dollars were wiped out, remember, that number mostly reflects a change in valuation, not money. Understanding this distinction helps you think like an investor instead of reacting like a headline reader. Some real money did move, from sellers who panicked to buyers who saw opportunity. That transfer was real, and for the people on the losing side of it, but for the millions of investors who simply held their shares, did nothing, and let the storm pass, the headline number had almost no bearing on their shares recovered their value over the following 2 years, as the market, once again, proved that a one-day, sentiment-driven panic, the money didn't disappear into the void. It moved from the anxious to the patient. And then, eventually, the valuation. The next time you hear that trillions were wiped out, remember what actually happened beneath the headlines. Until next time, keep learning and keep thinking like an investor.